Hello. In Chapter 11, we're discussing being with others, forming relationships in young adults and middle childhood. So, friendships, always a major part of development, major part of our society, major parts of our ability to communicate with each other. So, friendships are a major importance of adolescent and young adults. They continue to be important throughout life, right? They're characterized by less emotionally intense than a love relationships. They have good friendship, and a good friendship also boosts self-esteem. So adult friendships go through the stages of um, adequateship, build up, continuation, deterioration, and ending. People tend to have more friends and acquaintances in young adulthood than they do in others in lifetimes and life transitions. Results in fewer friends and less contact. So when people get married, join relationships, have jobs, they actually tend to have less friends. The quality of friendship networks in people from ages 25 to 74 is improving. Um, the heavy internet users tend to have the most friends, both online and offline. Um, there's always been a question: are online friendships real friendships? They require trust. Online friendships can get stronger and have the same cycle as traditional friendships, and they're conducive for an environment for shy people. The differences exist between men and women relationships. Women focus more on emotional sharing and confiding with others, where men focus more on shared activities and interests. A man and women can just be friends. Has always been a thought. Can men and women have relationships without having to cross-sex friendships? Lower dating anxiety and higher capacity for intimacy. Um, Third parties may perceive this friendship and discourage them. Men overperceive a woman underperceive their friend's sexual interest in them. And maintaining friendships once a person is married or has an exclusive relationship is very difficult. So there's three basic components of love: passion, intense physiological desire for others; intimacy, sharing of thoughts and actions with others; commitment, willingness to stay with others through good times and bad. Early on, passion is high, and intimacy and commitment are low. And love grows through passion, and intimacy decline, but commitment increases. So let's talk about love relationships, a sort of mating theory that states that people find partners based on their similar to that are similar to each other, education levels, physical attractiveness, or religion. They can meet at school or similar places like that that they actually have activities at or that they often visit. Speed dating allows for meeting several people in short periods of time, practiced mostly by young adults. Only five couples in the U.S. meet online. Physical attractiveness still strongly influences the selection of partners. Physical attractiveness affects online dating. First impressions are driven mainly by the perceived attractiveness of the person's photo. Secure romantic attachments are in the norm in the 80s of the world cultures. So global patterns exist in male selection of romantic relationships. Culture is a force in shaping male selection. In some cultures, people tend to choose based on their status hierarchy. Access to good health care, education, and other resources tends to lead to more romantic relationship attachments. 95% of Indian marriages are arranged. Matchmaking also is common in Muslim countries. So let's talk about violence in relationships. Abusive relationships are common in a relationship in which one person becomes aggressive towards another partner. Battered women syndrome is when women believe that they cannot leave an abusive situation and may go as far as to kill their abuser. Many college students report experiencing abuse in dating relationships. So the continuum of aggressive behaviors toward a partner. We talk about verbal aggression, physical aggression, severe aggression, or even murder. Underlying causes of aggressive behaviors differ from the types of aggressive behavior changes. So 5 million women or 3 million men experience partner-related physical assaults or rape annually in the U.S. Men are victim of relationship violence at least 1 to 3 to the rate of women in the U.S. So international data indicates that rates of abuse are higher in cultures that emphasize female purity, male status, and family honor. Despite the availability of women's shelters and counseling, some women still live in fear of abuse from their husbands. An overwhelming majority of men and women ages 20 to 24 are single. There are numerous stereotypes and biases against single people. Men tend to marry at a later age than women, and fewer men remain single. Ethnic differences in singles exist. Young adult African Americans are twice as likely to be single as European Americans. Singlehood increasing among Latino Americans as well. Culture implications of singlehood exist. Muslim Malaysian women believe that they are single because God has decided that they should not meet their male at this time. For most people, the decision to marry is a gradual one. That's just an example of culture how it can play in a relationship. Cohabitation. People who are committed, intimate, sexual relationships living together but not married. This is increasingly popular in the U.S. Why do people cohabitate? Test the relationship for potential marriage, convenience, or an alternative way of marriage. So there's global differences in cohabitation. Extreme common in some European countries. Does cohabitation make marriage better? That's been a question always asked. Evidence shows no. May actually result in lower quality of marriages. Behavior rarely changes after cohabitation. Gay and lesbian relationships have many similarities with heterosexual relationships. Dual earners, shared household chores. Gay men separate love and sex, much like heterosexual men. Lesbians connect sex and emotional intimacy, more likely to be different on demographic characteristics than heterosexual couples. So gay and lesbian couples report receiving less support from family. Attitudes are changing at a societal level. Same-sex marriage is now legal in the U.S. Inheritance rights and able to visit loved ones in the hospital. So marriage. Marital success refers to any marital outcome, marital quality, subjective measure of marriage based on several dimensions. Marital adjustment, degree to which husbands and wives accommodate each other over a certain period, and marital satisfaction, a global assessment of a person's marriage. What predicts a successful marriage, right? So age, the younger a partners are, the greater the chances it will end in divorce. Homogamy, homogamy, sharing similar values and interests increases the likelihood of a marriage lasting. Feelings of equality in the marriage also play a role. When there is equal independence in the marriage, stress and conflict are likely. Learning to deal with changing patterns in a marriage is the key in longevity and happiness. Marital satisfaction varies widely. How a couple reacts to stresses and the changes of the marriage determine whether it's a success. The communication piece, adapting to changes as you get older, adapting to changes in environment, job, all those things play a role. How should the early stages of a marriage be approached? Adjust to the different expectations and perceptions that each other has. Learn to handle confrontation and resolve conflict. And parenthood can stress and leave less time focused on the marriage. So if a military spouse believes the deployment will make the marriage stronger, it's likely to become stronger. So how do we keep marriage? How do you keep a marriage happy? There's a couple recommendations that's made, like good stress and conflict resistance strategies. Keep the romance in a relationship. Share religious beliefs and spirituality, and clear a honest communication of thoughts, actions, and feelings, especially when dealing with stressful areas. A nuclear family. This is a type of family consisting of only the parents and children, most common in the Western societies. Extended family or grandparents and other relatives with parents and children. So decide whether to have children. So research shows that the potential parents do not think deeply about the decision of whether or not to have children. Benefits are becoming pregnant. One considering having children expensive, right? Again, having those family ties and making sure you have a sense of accomplishment within your relationship before you make that decision. Reasons adults and child-free include personal choice, financial instability, and fertility. Childless couples tend to have higher marital satisfaction, more freedom, and higher standards of living. So the parental role, average age of a woman at the time of the first childbirth has been rising. Currently, 26 years of age is in the U.S. Many women are postponing children due to marrying later and establishing careers. Older parents tend to spend more time with their children and be more supportive. Parenting skills must be learned to have successful child development. Ethnic background plays a role. African American husbands are more likely to help with household chores. African American parents tend to provide strong religious beliefs. Tribal Native Americans spend considerable more time in imparting cultural values that are very important for those that our European Americans have. So ethnic backgrounds continue. So Latino American families promote two key values: familyism, the idea that the family's well-being takes precedence over concerns. Extended family, relatives often provide child care and financial support. And Asian Americans often have value familism and extended family. So, what challenges do multi-ethnic families have? Discrimination and prejudice are always going to be challenges. Worries that children will be rejected by both racial communities, and mothers play a key role in establishing their child's cultural identity. More than 40% of mothers in the U.S. are unwed. How do single parents and their children get by? So, parents experience feelings of frustration and guilt during these times. Some parents, not all, financial difficulties, especially for single mothers, and parents feel insecure about dating and sexuality. For step parents, adoptive parents, or foster parents, concerns exist over bonding with the child that is not biologically theirs. So stepchildren often experience behavioral and emotional problems, and adoptive parents must acknowledge that the adopted children may want to seek their biological parents. So foster parents may not always be able to establish bonds due to constraints. Good foster care still is important in developing attachments. So divorce. Why do couples get divorced, right? Research shows that early divorce usually preceded with negative emotions during conflict. Later divorce usually a result of a lack of positive emotions. Covenant marriage expands the marriage contract to lifelong commitment between the partners with a supportive community. So how does divorce affect the couple? Feelings of disappointment and rejection, divorce hangover, the difficulty to transition to post-divorce life, middle-aged elderly women are disadvantaged from remarrying, and many divorced women experience difficult financial hardships. What happens to children after divorce? Custody tends to be awarded to the mother. Many fathers wish to remain active in their children's lives, but custody and child support laws make it difficult to do so. Long-lasting negative effects for children experiencing divorce at any age, right? Poor relationships with parents, difficulties in their own romantic relationships. And finally, remarriage. Divorced people typically wait about 3.5 years before they remarry. Subsequent marriages have a 25% higher divorce rate. Role definitions are less clear than a first marriage. Women are less likely to remarry than men, and women tend to benefit more from remarriage.